I believe that is going to be a differentiator between an average engineer and a good engineer is the business understanding, the business context understanding. If you're a developer who's just working on stories without worrying about the why of your application, and why were certain decisions made by either your engineering manager or the product manager for that particular feature, you need to, I think, probably relook at your strategy on how you're approaching software engineering, at least in the Gen AI era. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Zahir, and it's the time of the year where you want to set the priorities right for the rest of the year, and you essentially want to ensure that you're picking up new skills and you're adding value to your organization or where you're working, and also getting rewarded for that equally. And to do that, and the kind of rapid advancements that we have seen, I believe that the skill set of a full stack engineer is going to change dramatically. Maybe not in 2025, but I think the foundation will be laid in 2025. I think it is going to be a bare minimum expectation for from an organization, that every engineer in their organization understands how LLMs work and are able to build AI solutions, right? With that, I believe that there are certain skill sets and there are certain core skills rather that can actually help you become an AI. And I'm calling this video as core skills for full stack engineers, but I believe that AI ML Gen AI skill set is going to be part of the full stack skill set, and it is going to be a bare minimum expectation from just about everyone to understand how LLMs work, and they are able to leverage large language models and generative AI technology to essentially come up with business solutions. All right, with that, let's get started. So I'm gonna basically divide the this particular theme into three sections. I believe that there are three skills, and if I could create an umbrella skill set, that would be core AI ML engineering skills, technical stack, and project and professional skills. Now, the technical stack and project and professional skills could be different for different organization, but at a high level, if you know this particular stack, I think it'll probably essentially help you out in your professional journey. All right, let's look at core AI and ML engineering skills. We will go to the next slide. Now, it goes without saying, large language models. I think, in one way or the other, you probably would have already interacted with, ChatGPT, or you've already experimented with, some of the APIs. But you need to have a solid understanding of how that works. You need to know what is fine tuning. You need to essentially, be a prompt engineering expert now. You need to know how to essentially, optimize prompts, arrange the instructions in the order that the language model can understand it well, and understand how RAG works, and have enterprises probably, even if the large language model context window is a 2 million or 3 million context window, in the case of enterprises, the date RAG will still come into picture. I think in just about any business use case, RAG will come into picture, because the idea is that you give the context, the relevant context to the query, to the LLM, and not just dump the entire data set there, right? 2025 is, they're calling 2025 is the year of the agents, and you definitely want to be ready with that. You want to ensure that you have all the skill sets and understand multiple AI agent frameworks, multi-agent frameworks as well, and how you can actually design a multi-agent system. I have not arranged this in any particular order, but I've written large language models first, because you can still get started, creating Gen AI based applications without having a deeper understanding of machine learning fundamentals. And I'm saying this with experience, because I transitioned into an AI engineer in early 2023 by essentially experimenting or creating prototypes using just Gen AI, and I eventually picked up machine learning fundamentals. I did that for 6 months and then got comfortable with that. My understanding of large language models became much better, but I started with large language models first, because everything has been abstracted through an API for you. You need to just leverage the API and then solve business problems. You can get started there, but you need to have a solid understanding of how large language models work. You need to have a solid understanding of natural language processing, and having machine learning fundamentals and is definitely going to help there. In the last year and a half, one area where I've spent a lot of time is basically data pre-processing and creating RAG pipelines. I have worked on 6 or 7 production use cases already, and the time I've spent in essentially building those pipelines, cleaning the data. I realized that this is probably uh, a skill set that you'll have to spend a lot of time, grooming yourself in, spend a lot of time practicing this. If I'm sure you do some kind of, you if you're a full stack engineer, you know already how to work with data. You work with databases, but cleaning up data for machine learning models or large language models is a different experience altogether. So you would want to understand how this works. Uh, Again, I've kept this at the end, mathematical and scientific foundation. The reason I've kept this at the end is that you will probably not write this. You'll not be writing mathematical equations unless and until your job, demands that. But if you're turning, if you want to create AI solutions, you everything has been abstracted for you through, packages and libraries. There is NumPy library. There are a lot of libraries available that have abstracted all the math for you. But having a solid understanding here will also have us will give you a good leg up in basically understanding how the inner workings of the basically how the models work. And if it comes to if there comes a time where you have to essentially write your own custom algorithms, solid foundation in mathematics and scientific foundation will definitely help. uh, One thing that I would also recommend is that do not you know start from ABC. What I mean by that is, do not start with what is machine learning and get all overwhelmed there. Start with tinkering first, meaning use the API to come up with solutions, create prototypes, create examples. There are tons of video tutorials. My channel has several examples of how you can actually create large Gen AI based agents. You can start with that, and then double click on the topics that you haven't understood, or basically double click on each and every topic and then go from there. But I would say experiment as you're learning, so that you don't keep the theory to practice ratio at 80/20. You would want to keep that at 60/40 or 50/50. But I'd say as you're getting learning the theory and then practicing the concepts, I would also strongly recommend that you implement some of the examples. One simple idea would be, let's say that you're working in a company, and then uh, you could basically identify use cases where you can actually inject or infuse a Gen AI solution, and then just create that as a prototype for your organization. And if you don't have access to LLMs, just sign up for a key and then just simulate that experience. Maybe you need not use your own company's data, but simulate that experience by creating stub data and then executing those workflows. I think that'll probably give you a solid understanding of how everything works and practice. All right. The next slide is, the Python is probably the go-to language in the AI/ML space, because the support system that it has, the ecosystem that Python has created for AI/ML support is great. And look at the languages. So you look at all the frameworks that you're seeing: LangChain, Llama Index. All of these are very, very popular Python frameworks today. There is, I think, TS, or the TypeScript equivalent of some of these frameworks, but Python is the go-to language. And the fact that you get to work with PyTorch and scikit-learn, these are uh, deep learning frameworks. If you want to work with them, goes without saying. There is also another language called R, but I'd definitely recommend you use this. And the fact that you can actually build web-based applications, there are very popular frameworks like FastAPI, Flask, and Django that you can work with. But considering that we're talking about an AI/ML application, your understanding of a API development, that is FastAPI and Flask, is going to be definitely helpful here. Goes without saying, you need to have a solid understanding of one of the cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, or GCP, or even if you're working on some PaaS like VMware Tanzu or DigitalOcean, you that experience is going to be key, and not to mention you need to have a solid understanding of vector databases. I'd very strongly recommend that you use PG Vector. Just spin up a Docker instance of PG Vector and start practicing. uh, PG Vector is essentially a package on top of Postgres. You can use that as you can use the PG Vector plugin to essentially turn that into a vector database, a Postgres instance into a vector database. But essentially, this is going to help you understand the relevant algorithms that you need to essentially store the embeddings and then retrieve them in an efficient manner. uh, I use the word embeddings here to understand what is embeddings. You'll have to go back to having the understanding of natural language processing and large language models. Uh, I think an additional skill set will be to understand how MLOps works, and the MLOps tools and practices. Uh, in my next video, I'll probably talk about one tool that you'll probably need in each of these sections. But you know, from an infrastructure deployment point of view, the only new addition is MLOps tool. Also, a lot of the use cases are around chatbot, and if you essentially want to build real-time communication applications like chatbots, you'd want to have good understanding of WebSockets. Might not fall in the infrastructure category here, but you'd want to essentially pick that up as a skill. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the full stack development pieces. You guys understand what that is, but the only addition here is, if you're working with agents, how can you essentially design systems uh, where you can orchestrate multiple agents. You can build a tool for those agents so that the agents can talk to those tools. I think that's an understanding that you definitely need to build and work on. All right, the last part is project and professional skills. The last section is project and professional skills, something that I haven't written here, but I believe that is going to be a differentiator between an average engineer and a good engineer is uh, the business understanding, the business context understanding. If you're a developer who's just working on stories without worrying about the why of your application, and why were certain decisions made by either your engineering manager or the product manager for that particular feature, you need to, I think, probably relook at your strategy on how you're approaching software engineering, at least in the Gen AI era or the AI era. You need to have solid understanding of your business. And in the age where coding is probably not the high leverage skill as it was maybe a year ago, with the advancements of these coding IDs and coding agents like GitHub Copilot and Codium and others, the the expectation is that you are able to deliver much more, but you can only deliver much more and you can extract more from those coding agents if you know what you're asking for. And to know what you're asking for, you need to have a solid understanding of not just the feature or a story that you're working, but the entire project. I believe that is going to be the key. And if you're working with agents, you'll have to have a solid understanding of the business processes that you're solving. I'm sure you already do, but if you're not doing that, even if no matter what level you are at, try and get as much deeper understanding of that as possible. All right. uh, I again, you know, ensure that you're working on your system design skills and are driving best practices. Uh, Gen AI in particular, or this AI use cases in particular, will require interlocks with multiple different domains and streams and business teams. So ensure that you're very good at collaborating. Your AI agent or your coding agent will not be able to do that. And these are skills that you'll probably have to double down on if you think you've taken this particular aspect of engineering lightly. This is probably will get will be highlighted even more as the coding agents become smarter and they're able to essentially understand your entire code base, which probably is not very far if you ask me. I mean, at least for smaller projects, right? Uh, One last bit is research and development. I was able to crack or be part of an AI/ML team without having zero experience, uh, or having zero experience in AI/ML is just by rapid experimentation. Ever since the Gen AI, sorry, ever since the OpenAI API was uh, you know was you know was in the market, I created a account, and then I've been playing with that. That led me to creating and projects for my blog. That caught the attention of my manager, who gave me assignments to essentially build prototypes, and I was able to essentially build those rapid prototypes, and then essentially get a full time AI engineer job. And then my journey of essentially learning machine learning, deep learning, the fundamental concepts has begun, and I have been able to work on several production projects already in the last year and a half. So I'd very strongly recommend that have the mentality to essentially keep experimenting and keeping up with the AI advancements, and then just trying that. Maybe create content about it. And if you don't want to create content about it just for your own sake, start creating, documenting your experiences, maybe on your GitHub repo, and create those experiences. All right, guys. This was just a random thought I had. I just wanted to piece this video together. I was able to do this in maybe half an hour. I but I but I genuinely wanted you guys to think about adding AI/ML into your uh, full stack repertoire, because I think this is going to be probably a main entity in a full stack skill set. And also uh, the fact that every engineer is probably expected to do this in the future is something that you'd want to keep that in mind and start right now if you haven't already. All right, with that, I think we've come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for your time. Please share this video with your network and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Bye.